Mm-hmm.
Okay, got our bed. It's not prepped yet for planting. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna demonstrate how you put down the compost, how you dig it in, and actually plant some of our seedlings in it. So let's get to work. We got some all around compost here in the bag here. So in this little area is where we're going to get some of our plantings in. So we're going to take some out, spread it over. Like I said, a good 2 to 3 inches. You don't want to go more than that.
And see what he's doing right now, he's mixing the compost in with the soil, which creates a richer soil.
So you can see the difference in what I've just mixed in compared to this over here. And now when you look at this, you'll see a much richer soil for the plants. So basically we get that mix in top 4 to 6 inches, smooth it out. Generally in the big area you're gonna have a rake. You smooth it out even. Since we're down here, you got a small area, so I use my hand.
Now, I have a question. I'm sure somebody else is going to have this question.
Sure.
Does it matter what you mix in with the dirt? I mean, is there any particular, I want to take a look at this bag. It says organic on this bag.
That's generally what you want if you add soil amendments. You'd rather have organic. Organic, technically, no pesticides, um, no chemical fertilizers, all natural, from all natural source. The stuff that goes in to make the compost is raw materials and generally some type of manure. It's mixed and then it's allowed to break down. So this stuff right here, if you looked at it when they first started making this, it would be green material, leaves, grass, clippings, tree trimmings, you name it, mixed in with manure, and they're allowed to rot down sometimes as long as a couple months or maybe even longer. And then what you end up with is this. And your organic stuff is not, it doesn't have any of those things that I said that they don't put in organic material. So we got this little area prepped. I'm gonna go over and grab a couple of seedlings, and I'm gonna show you how to put them in, and you gotta water them in too. Actually, before I do that, it's also a good idea, which I don't have it right now. It's a good idea to mix in an all-purpose fertilizer over the area that you're planting, and basically, you're looking for an all-purpose is going to have a decent amount of. Basically, when you for your fertilizers, it's listed three numbers: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. You always see those numbers in that exact order on the label of any type of plant food. So we generally use like fish-based um, fertilizer, liquid fertilizers, or the uh, powdered fertilizer. So let me go grab them and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
And so while he's grabbing that, again, uh, I also want to tell you about these little things here. You see that look like sackcloth with dirt in them. These are pots that we had at our other home. The soil at our other home, it was East Vale, and so it used to be cattle country. So the soil was very, very rich. and we were able to grow a wonderful crop over there. The house was just too big, kids got grown, and so we had to get something more, manageable for us. But what we're going to be doing is taking the dirt from those pots, and we're going to be using that because it's been taken care of and it's been fertilized over and over, and so we're going to add that as well. So now, what type of plant is that you have there?
This is a red bell pepper plant in a peat pot. So basically, the advantage of you find plants in all types of pots. A peat pot is something that you can plant in the ground, and it's going to eventually, over time, break down. The advantage is you're not disturbing or damaging the roots, and you still end up with an undamaged root system. You end up with overall a stronger plant. Some of the plants will be in containers, and when you dump them out in order to plant them, you see the little roots. They can get damaged and take a while for the plant to recover. So on these, all you have to do is take the plastic liner off the side, and you just plant the whole plant in the ground. What you need to be aware of, what I generally do is in these peat pots, I like to tear it down to where the pot is even with the soil level, because if you don't, the pot can act as a wick and pull moisture away from the root system and dry it out and potentially damage your plant. So let's tear this off. There we go, right there in the center. I can get it. There you go.
So that's how it looks.
Yeah, it's basically peat moss. It's all natural material that they form into a pot. So you can plant. It's made to be planted, so without damaging the root system of the plant. So here I am tearing off the top, like I said, so it doesn't act as a wick and pull water from the pot itself. Set that off to the side. So you want to make this plant about even with the surrounding ground, and then as I said before I forget, what's sitting right here, this is called fish meal. So here we have the numbers 860. So it's got an 8 for nitrogen, 6 for phosphorus. Doesn't have any potassium. You definitely need that because that helps the plant with disease resistance, and it's also, I believe, helps with the root system. This is a main number, like with peppers, fruiting plants that you want to have. You actually want to have a higher number than this. That's what phosphorus does. Root system, the fruiting, and this number, the first number is for nitrogen, and helps with the leafing part of the plant. Helps it to grow, stay green, and helps your leaves to stay a good size. So, being that we're going to water this with liquid fertilizer, we're not going to put any of this fish meal in now. We're just going to go ahead and plant this even with the surrounding ground.
Now notice that
And you want to firm it in.
you put it down there in deep. Most people will probably think, oh, just put it at the level, but you put it a little deeper.
Well, you know what? In that pot, some of the soil, just from probably it being watered, had washed away. So I could see basically where the overall line of the plant was, how deep it needed to set. So after you do this a few hundred times, which I have done over the years, you get a feeling for how deep the plants need to be. So that's that. The very next thing, most important thing you need to do is you need to water it in, and you need to keep it watered for like the first couple of weeks. After that, the roots will start growing out of the pot into the surrounding ground, and then the only thing you have to do is pretty much is water as needed. And out here in Southern California, that could be a few times a week, especially in the hotter weather. Grab the hose. nice gentle spray as opposed to a stream is what you need. This is what you would not use for in cases of watering your garden, especially a newly planted plant like that. You want a nice gentle stream. So water that, let the water sink down, and if it's really hot, what I would do is probably grab something and angle it up. I wouldn't use this, but as an example, if it was like 100 degrees out here, you want to put something like this up to protect it for about a week. It helps it during when you transplant stuff, so it's not being burned by the sun before it's really established. But it's only 70 some degrees right now, so this will be okay.
70 something and it feels like 100 and something.
Yeah, it's pretty warm. I'm breaking a sweat.
Yeah.
So here we are. We got this plant, this pepper plant planted, and we'll eventually work on the rest of this bed in a few minutes and get the rest of this stuff planted.
Okay, so for right now, I notice that you've given a lot of space around so that pepper plants, they do spread out.
They do. They grow up to about maybe 18 inches or 2 feet tall. They can grow a lot taller than that. Yeah, and this is one of the plants that you have to be aware of how much nitrogen you give it. In this fish meal, it had the higher number, which I'm not particularly fond of. I'd like to have a lower nitrogen in the beginning, this first number, and a higher second number, that's phosphorus. You want it to be, the plant to be concerned about producing the peppers and not necessarily about producing leaves. You want fruit. It's a fruiting plant, so that's what you want. And let me see. Here it is right here.
And here's the critters.
This is generally the fertilizer that I use, the fish fertilizer. It's excellent. It's by Harris, and it's all organic. It has 33.3 for the numbers. It has 3 for the nitrogen, 3 for the phosphorus, 0.3 for the potassium. This works excellent on everything that we've grown. Our vegetables, our trees, our lemon trees. It's an all-around excellent fertilizer. So I gotta actually have a gallon. It's worked so well over the years. I've been buying it by the gallon. So this is what we're using out here. Sometime in the next couple of days, I will, and every week after that, I will put the right amount in a gallon of water, and then I'll feed it that way. So you didn't see me put any fertilizer in the ground, but as long as you feed it, whether it's by liquid or by meal or powder, that's what the plants need. The plant will thrive just with that.
All right. So that is your lesson for today. And stay tuned, like the channel. Let us know if you have any questions. We'd be glad to answer them. And as we grow, you grow. Have a wonderful day.